the Chiefs are not making the playoffs. They are. I thought how this game was starting, how that first drive went. I was like, oh, here they go. And it ends with Patrick Mahomes in an ACL tear and the Chiefs missing the playoffs for the first time since 2014 after a run of AFC championship game after AFC championship game and Super Bowl appearance, missing the playoffs. But the Chargers and their defense pressured Mahomes 17 times, sacked him 5 times. I thought Justin Herbert had some Hadoukens in this game. Holy crap, especially at the end of the first half. The Chargers went ugly ball. They went 17 snaps with 6 offensive linemen. And also, I thought it was a great defensive game plan from Jesse Minter, which I'll talk about. What'd you think about this? Chiefs officially out of the playoffs. I don't know if I would say dynasty over, but at least maybe this iteration of this regime, this franchise is over. No, not like the coaches or anything, but just like this iteration, just the feeling of it all.
Yeah.
This run.
It's got to change.
The Chargers now have a 94% chance to make the playoffs. What are we thinking?
Yeah, I mean,
Chiefs.
I do think that this palate cleanser was necessary for them. Like maybe missing the playoffs and like really having to take a hard look at what you're doing is good for you, but not like this. Like not to have Mahomes tear his ACL along with it. That sucks. I guess like only but I have there is if it's only just an ACL, then shoot, like he's got a chance where he's such a freak athlete he could potentially get back, and recover and be able to play early next year. We'll have to see with that, but that's a bummer that you have to take this medicine also while getting Mahomes hurt. But they obviously just got to take a hard look at like the players that they've coveted, the type of players that they've coveted on offensive skill talent over the past few years. I mean, you can just see it. They're just way too small out there. At receiver, running back, they've just kind of let that fall to the wayside. And now your offensive line's banged up. Just not enough firepower for when you have that guy as your quarterback. It's like the idea that winning 12 games or even having the season you had last year like means you did a good job. It's like, no, like it should never be this, discombobulated. And I think a lot of their stuff this year was just unlucky. Some of the late game stuff, some lucky, some disgraceful, like the end of the Jacksonville game where like, I don't know how you just let that up, but shoot, like the offense was still really good this year while he played, man. Like they still were top 3, top 4 in most efficiency stats. The defense was a little up and down, but even then, like recently we still saw that even though the personnel might be lacking on defense, Bags still can get you and Chris Jones can get you and Karlofsky can get you in the right spots. So, it wasn't like if they had snuck into the playoffs, I would be like, hey, I don't know. Like they still got some of the pieces, but now officially eliminated, which I think it can be good for them if they take the time to actually learn the lessons. Like they just got to switch up whatever personnel stuff they're doing because they're just too small on offense. I mean, Xavier Worthy got hurt again today. I don't really know how you can even put him back out on the field because it's just so small. And, that's why I have small people on the football field.
Especially when it gets cold. It's just, I know everyone thinks that's just some meathead edge, but it's just kind of how it goes. And that's how it feels, man. It's just like everything feels tight. And when, at least this year, when they were rolling a little bit or relatively rolling, it was the O-line looked good. And it was like, oh man, you got Mahomes with a juiced up O-line. Like, doesn't matter who's catching the ball. That's why Tyquan Thornton was catching some deep balls because Mahomes had time to launch them. And then Rashee Rice gets back and you get that kind of perfect window where it's like before the line is kind of falling apart where it was like, okay, now you got the skill guys there. And actually for a couple of weeks, it was like feeling okay. That's why even a few weeks ago, I was like, hey, man, I feel good about them as anybody. And then now this was the worst version of it because the O-line falls apart and then no one can make a play at receiver or running back. I mean, you're throwing up wheel routes to Kareem Hunt. And Hanley's just gonna like out athlete him. Former receiver just looks amazing on it. And I thought too, it was just like everything always just feels tight going in after the first month of the season. I had a rant with Matt where I was like, they look small and slow. And that's the thing is like Xavier Worthy tested fast And yeah, in open field, he can get fast, but how many guys does he make miss? Like nobody. He runs out of bounds most of the time. And it's like, well, he's banged up. And it's like, well, that's the problem. Like it's football.
Mhm.
Like you can't just have a whole bunch of welterweights out there. And two, or more so, the running back thing, I think we could just say over and over again. It's like, doesn't matter how good the run scheme is. If sometimes you need guys to make plays, football players have to make plays. The coaches can scheme up as much as they want. The quarterback can be a hero as much as they want, but it's like, guys got to make a play. They got to die for a football. They got to, for a football that's not perfectly in their chest, they got to block this guy. They got to catch a route that where it's actually covered. And it just feels like nobody makes a play. I really felt it last week, especially again this week. Outside the first drive, I was like, oh, okay, they got some good stuff. But I mean, we have a lot of conversations how much they need on the roster. They need more juice up front. DB wise, they've been figuring out what their DBs are, but they need another one there. I think they need a legit starting running back. I think they need size at receiver. That's not Juju Smith-Schuster. I think they need a real Z type. Like they need a guy that can just beat zone. Kelsey's probably going to move on. And you can tell Travis is not feeling that cold weather anymore when he's out there. He's like, screw this. This sucks. Maybe give me back the dad bod. But I also too I felt like they just get out schemed, and this has happened a few times now. Like Jesse Minter is one of the best coaches in the game, schematic coaches in the game, defense coordinator for the Chargers. Sometimes he can get got because he doesn't have the personnel. Like I thought the Chiefs too should have ran the ball a little bit more in this game, but odd mirror, and this is why I want to bring this up. Odd mirror is when you rush three. That's odd. Three down front technically, and then mirror is you have two defenders. You can do this out of 4 down front as well, but mirror is you have two defenders. One of them has the back when the back releases to one side, and then the other one has the quarterback as a spy, whichever side he goes. And usually you have a 3-man rush. They have a 2-way go. Usually you can bait the quarterback to break contain to one side. Then the guy that's mirroring them can loop around. The Bills have done it, and I really like when the Bills do it. The Chargers, though, and Minter have done it a ton against Mahomes, and other teams have done it against Mahomes, and they still can't freaking figure out any way to beat it because Mahomes creates so much. And when you run and behind these mirror fronts, you can run man, you can run whatever you want, but teams will run man coverage or they'll run 2-man because against 2-man, if you just think 5 guys are covering the 5 eligibles and then you got the 2 deep guys, no one's on the quarterback. One of the answers for a quarterback against 2-man, it's one, which is usually an outbreaker, to scramble. But if you do this, when you do these mirror looks, there's Mahomes going, okay, I'm going to just enter creation. It's 2-man. This is great. Oh, shoot. Okay, now I'm going to break contained, and then here comes the mirror guy scraping over the top. They rush 3. They got multiple sacks off of these looks today. And I would say they ran it at least 4 or 5 times on 3rd down. So I had to bring that up with Minter and just say I thought they did an amazing job of smothering the Chiefs' passing game and Mahomes and just frustrating them. And it was just really just a lot of these mirror fronts that they're running. I thought it was just an awesome job by him because he's such a good coach.
Yeah. I remember a couple of years ago, Kirby Smart tried to he tried to mirror Jalen Milroe. And I think it was the SEC title game. And Milroe was faster than the mirror player. And it was
ran him. Yeah.
It was ugly. Yeah. Because that was Jalen Walker. He was a freshman. He was like probably 20 pounds lighter. So they had him as the spy, which was working. But the second guy was getting cooked. And now you're just down 2 guys, and he's running free through the secondary.
That's it.
But Mahomes
if he beats the mirror, you're dead. You got nobody looking at the quarterback.
Dead.
I know it.
Yeah,
and I love it. I've been wondering why more teams haven't used it like every 3rd down because especially all these quarterbacks that create so much, Mahomes, Allen, Lamar, and you see it sprinkled in more and more. And I'm curious if it just cranks up even more as that's put on tape even more because I thought that was just they did it at least 4 times. And I would guess more. That's just the ones that I took notes on. Also, speaking of play calling, Greg Roman had a very frustrating Greg Roman sequence for me. 1st and goal from the 4. He calls a counter play of 21 jumbo with Matlock on the field, TFL for 2 yards. 2nd and goal from the 6, goes 22 jumbo. So 22 jumbo with Matlock, who's not going to catch the football. So 6 offensive linemen, Matlock, another tight end on the 6-yard line on 2nd down. And then they run like the most staple play action play. And I was like, no kidding. That's what you guys are running. You're not going to run the ball from the 6 out of that look. And then 3rd and goal from the 6, they drop 8. Herbert has nobody open. They're forced to kick a field goal. But I had that written down because it's like, God, you are so frustrating, Craig Roman. And I have to have a note about how frustrating you are as a play caller. But I did think Herbo had some Hadoukens throughout this game and had some really good throws.
Good player. Yeah.
Good player.